And it's one more Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. We're back for one more show of neighborhood news. And John will going to be able to be with us tonight, but we will definitdefinitely have him back next week. For the Portuguese listeners, like happens every Tuesday, I want to welcome them. Sejam bem-vindos a mais programa das suas notícias da sua vizinhança. Acontece no canal 95, às 7 da noite, todas as terças-feiras. E especial também abraço para aqueles que vão escutar o nosso programa fora, para eles também grande abraço de nós. And like happens every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, Channel 95, we're back with one more show of neighborhood news. And before we announce our friend and our guest for tonight, I have a couple of announcements to do. John is not going to be able to be with us tonight, but he sent me a message, and I would like to mention that his neighborhood group, the Niagara Neighborhood Association, are pouring a fundraiser together, and it's going to be a clam boiled at Le Page's Seafoods, 439 Martin Street on April 14th. So it's Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, Valentine's date, but not the same month. April 14th, between the 4 and 8 o'clock. And the Flint Merchants Association is doing a fundraiser too. It's going to be the Shrimp Mozambique dinner. The price are $15, and it's eat in or take out between 2 and 6 o'clock at the Lindos Cafe and Restaurant, 160 Alden Street in Fall River. Those are two announcements that we had for tonight. But I want to now introduce you a friend for many, many years. We know each other for probably 20 years. I had the pleasure to work under her leadership at the WSAR and WHTB. We're talking about 20 years, looks like yesterday, but it was 20 years. So I know when Carole, it's when she dedicated her time to her work, she could have a lot accomplished. And she's here today as state representative, and I want to congratulate her. She's new at the job, but she had done so much already, and we're going to be able to talk about all those projects. But I have to say, and I've been mentioning this, and every time that I talk about representatives from our city, I probably, and I'm on our city for 27 years, I think that we never had a group of people working together. I mean, the Alan and Paul and Fiola, Carole, they think as one, and they move as one. And I believe they're going to accomplish a lot for our city. And we're excited to hear about all this project. So, Carole, thank you for coming again.
Thank you, Carlos, for having me.
Thank you.
My friend, it's an honor to be here with you and your viewers.
So, you are the baby there, right? As the group from Fall River, you're right. The baby.
That's right. I'm about 4 months now, just a little over 4 months that I've served as state representative of the Sixth Bristol District, which does incorporate a piece of the Flint, I'm honored to say. And it is an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience to serve. There are so many issues, ideas, projects, constituent questions and needs, and I love it. I love every minute of it, and as you know, Carlos, we've talked quite a bit since I've been on board, and you know, we both share that same passion for this region, your community, your neighborhood, and this district. And you're right. I think most of the districts don't have, I think, what we have. We have a delegation that is working, as you said, as one. We each have our own geographical territory that we represent very fiercely. However, we see the big picture of our community. The three of us, myself, Alan Sylvia, and Paul Schmidt, are working as a wonderful team with support, of course, by another important member, our state senator, Michael Rodrigues. So together, and even our delegation that surrounds our community. And in particular, I really want to highlight our state representative, Pat Haddad from Somerset, because she does serve in a big leadership role in Boston. And that's very important to note. And she's very much clued in on the things, even though she's, of course, an advocate for her district, but she also is there for us when we need her.
I mean, and part of this success, I have to say, is very easy to get in touch with any of you. You all have office in Fall River, and it's very, you're very open. Your doors are always open to the voters and to the residents, but not just that. That is a big part of the success. But the other part is you all know what's been on the table from each other. So if you come up with an idea, you always bring the other two in. And when Paul comes with an idea, he brings up the other two. So that's why I say that we never had this kind of relationship between the three working at the same. So you won't bring anything into a project or present a project that would not the other two know about. And I don't think this happened before. It's like it's my own idea, I'm going to bring it alone and I'm going to fight this by myself. And that's why we've been accomplished so much in so small period of time.
Well, you're absolutely right, Carlos. You know, and your viewers know that you don't do anything alone. And everybody likes credit. Oh, the bridge lighting's my idea, or the park's this one's idea, or this. But you don't get anything done unless you're a team, unless you bring in all the people that are going to have a say in this. And I have to tell you, you're right. It's unusual that a district has this kind of cooperation, but we do, and that's what we're going to do, because this Fall River, for me, Fall River and Assonet, I represent that as well. It's too important to put ourselves first. It's about our community. And that's what we're doing. And Carlos, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to your viewers yet about the exciting, almost $8 million total will be going into between the bike paths and the Father Travassos Park improvements. That's huge. That's not done by any one person. That's done by team effort. And of course, it always takes a catalyst. And here, everybody knows that Carlos is a fierce fighter for all things Flint, and let's Flint call you the Flint fierce fighter. Yes. And we'll say that 3 times, Carlos.
And something, I use the Flint as a key, but my interest, it's really the city and everything that everything that could happen for the city. I think that's what we all working on. Since that you mentioned the grants, and it's been a lot of grants, coming to Fall River. So how is being worked out in Boston?
Well, as you know, again, we're up in Boston. We work with 59 other state representatives that we work with, and they're all fighting for money too. And we've been fortunate, and I'm going to say this, we've been fortunate to have a governor that has his executive department, and that's, whether it's housing or energy or environmental or any of these departments, they know he's got a keen interest in this region. So that's important. So if the governor didn't want to put the money down here at all, he could stop it. So it's a big combination of having the right advocate up in Boston, along with the right advocates here representing you in the district. And of course, you know, you've got a mayor, you've got a city council. All of this has to be working in unison. If we don't, it doesn't happen. And we've been lucky. You go up there, you know about grant applications. It's not a surprise. We work, we find out these applications are in, we find out these monies are available, and we fight for them. We bird dog them. We call them. We follow up with them. And look what's happening now between Father Travasso's Park. We've got the, I mean, Charlton just received some significant funding. I mean, we've got projects everywhere, and that's a great feeling to have those monies released into our community.
And I every show I mention this, and I never get tired of mentioning that we are so lucky in Fall River, because not just that we have the politics that are working so hard for the city, but look at which other city has 16 neighborhood groups, and we are all eyes out there. Doesn't matter where we have a problem, we have a neighbor group involved and calling our representatives and getting involved. And it's like the police department, they cannot be in every place at the same time. They're using the help of the neighbors to call in to report crime and all of that.
And to make their communities, even to enhance their communities. You're right. Carlos, you can't say enough about actual neighborhood people getting involved. We don't get all our ideas. One day we wake up and we have great ideas and we go to advocate for those in Boston. We need our neighborhood groups, our neighbors, our citizens to come together and tell us what's important to them. Tell us what it is you'd like us to do. And that's how we get our agenda, by what the community is calling for. And the neighborhood groups are a perfect vehicle for that. You know.
Yes, and yesterday, and you know this, Carole, every couple of months we have a round table with the mayor, and we bring, you know, the neighbors' complaints and what we want to see. And yesterday was that meeting, which I been enjoying since at Lambert, because it's a good way to get in touch with all the other neighborhoods. We all around the same table, and we all try to help each other and listen to them approaching the city with their parks, you know, and the projects. Oh, we would love to have this on my park. I would love to have that, and that really is that's part of moving the city forward, because we hear from the and now with the technology, you know, especially the Facebook, we cannot live without now. But they contacted us. They cannot come to the meeting, but they contacted us, and that's a big help. And them reporting to us in charge of the neighborhood groups, we report to you, and you report to Boston.
And then really we report back to you, because you're our boss. But you know, you just said that you had your neighborhood group meetings yesterday, and I didn't want the show to go by. You know, there's so many good things happening in this community. You don't need a state rep to make all the good things happen. They're happening. And it's important for shows like this to highlight. I just had the great opportunity to be visited today in my office by a group from the program called Youth Build. And I can tell you right now that of the organizations that are in our community, like the Boys and Girls Club, helping our youth, some of these agencies, there's nothing more important than starting our foundation and starting our young people with all the things that they need to become great citizens, great students, and great adults. I had the opportunity to have a few of these Youth Build members today. I had Hector and Brooke and Robert and Eric and their directors in my office. And these are young people who, for some reason or other, high school based on their past experiences in life, and they're not pretty experiences, led them maybe away from high school during the high school years weren't good for them. And then what? They didn't know what to do. Well, this Youth Build program has been so successful in getting them in. They have to want to be a part of it, and they have to want to improve their lives to the point where not just a high school GED, but college is their aspiration. And this program, where they endure a 10-month, they have to go through an application process that takes 4 weeks. A 4-week application process, because they do not want people who do not want to be there. These young adults, I was so proud of them to talk about what their goals are, what their vision is, their involvement in the city. You know, and these are kids, I say kids, young adults who, you know, could go the other way, but they're choosing not to, and because of programs like Youth Build.
Yes, and you know something, and those kids are the kids that we say they lost the bus.
That's right.
They didn't lost the bus yet.
No.
The bus probably had to stop.
That's right.
They're getting late, but they didn't lost the bus.
No, they didn't.
And they are right on the way to success, even if they didn't graduate from a high school, but they are on the way to graduating through that group. So, and you're right, it's so many groups in our city, and everybody's working for to better Fall River. The best thing I have to say on our organization is the Vol School project. I have to say that's gone.
How are you doing?
We're doing very good, and it's still schools to be sold in Fall River, and one's going to be a meeting pretty soon for the a school on St. Anne's.
Yeah.
And I dare Pam to buy a school already. I said, you know, you need to do this because just last week I had 2 more groups that are going to utilize the one is the Senator Mary Fonseca group. She opened a Portuguese school for the American kids to learn Portuguese back on the 70s. They called the Portuguese school.
Yeah.
And they approached me, and they're going to be utilizing the school for their classes. And another one is a group that has 60 kids. It's the Boys Club on the Flint. So they're going to be using the space.
Boys and Girls Club?
No, the Boys Club.
Oh, it's a different name.
Yes,
okay.
It's 60 boys they have, the group, and it's so much that we're gonna, it's so many groups, and that to come back to, that it's so many groups that we have in Fall River with no roof. And they're all looking for one thing, for a roof to keep educating our kids and to put the more and more back into the city. So that's why I told Pam, now it's your chance. You have a school that's going to be sold on your neighborhood. Just get aboard. So so that's to tell you that it is plenty of groups in our city, and the youth's getting involved in more and more and more and more in our city.
You're right, because if we don't make sure our young people are educated, and not everybody gets there the same way. Okay, not everybody fits under the exact same model. We see that now with charter schools. We see it with the Resiliency Prep School. Everybody, I think education has changed in the last several years, and rightly so, to understand that not everybody learns in the exact same environment. And so we've been able to accomplish that by these varied options for families. And the other thing I wanted to make note of is, you know, as viewers are out there, you know, it's so important to note that you, Carlos, as a citizen of this community, you know, just stepped forward to help. And so one person can do an awful lot. You don't have to be an elected person. You don't have to be a rich person. You don't have to be the best orator in the world. What you need to do is have a passion, whatever that passion is. And that inspires me every day in my role as a state rep. I look at you, and you mentioned, you know, we could name names, you know, for an hour and a half here in this community that give back. I was just at the newly formed, or a little social gathering for the Highland Neighborhood group, We've got the North End group, the Lower Highlands, the Niagara, the Maplewood. Like you said, it goes on and on, 16 groups. All of them came together through individuals who just care so much about this community. So this community is so rich, and we have to remember that and remind ourselves how rich it is and how fortunate we are, instead of always looking, it seems, at like the glass half empty. And so do we have issues that we're trying to address? Absolutely. We have the best police force, the best fire department. We have, you know, all of these great things going for us that we want to make sure that we are acknowledging that. And along the way, we're going to try to help. We're going to try to bring more money to this district. Look what's happening. Look what's happening with construction. You've never seen so much construction. You see the ramps coming down along the waterfront. So many other things. We have the possibilities of lighting the way for people to not come through Fall River and Somerset, but to come to us. And not just go use it as a driving, the Braga Bridge as a way to get through, but a way to just make people stop and be a beacon and say, hey, something's happening in that community. There's a lot going on. I'm going to go down and see it. I'm going to go see that battleship. I'm going to go see the museums and the restaurants. I'm going to go walk that gorgeous waterfront. I know so many of your viewers walk that waterfront in the spring and summer. And what are we doing as a group? We're going to be releasing those funds soon. They won't start it now because it'll go into the summer, and we don't want to inconvenience the people who use the waterfront. But we're going to be, it's already been approved. I believe it's, I don't have my numbers in front of me, but about 1.8 million or 1.5 million to replace all the boardwalks. You know, when you're walking, those planks are all splintered. They've been there for so many years.
Yes.
They're going to be replaced with durable, weatherproof planks.
And the use going to double now when we bring those ramps down.
Of course.
You know, people are going to have more access to walk there.
So let's talk a little bit more about your neighborhood too.
Oh no, I have plenty of time to talk about my neighborhood. I want to talk about Boston.
Okay. First of all, come up and visit. I'm going to tell you this is a distraction, but my phone was not shut off on the volume, so I apologize.
That's okay.
Boston, I first of all encourage any of your viewers and yourself, anytime you want to make the trip up, it's not my building, it's your building. It's your building. Come on up. We would love to have you and host you up there. It is such a historic place, and it's a privilege to be in that building and serve with my fellow colleagues to try to make things better for our district.
We're not going to mention and lose too much time on the lighting of the bridge because it's been on the news for the past week.
Go figure.
But you know that's if it's like the Girl Scouts, every time they do something they have a pin. So you already have a couple of pins on
it's
your
not my pin.
on your.
No, let me just say this right now, because just how we started this show, the bridge lighting is if you don't get a ticket to the dance, you can never expect to dance. So we're making little steps. And let me tell you this project wouldn't be possible if, just like you said, I didn't bring everybody together and we all sat and everybody thought that would be a great idea. And that's how it works. That's how it works. It doesn't matter that it was one person that might have picked up the ball and done a lot of the homework and a lot of the running around. Everybody was involved, everybody knew about it, and everybody likes the idea. That's how things can get done. And you don't get things done unless you have consensus. Why would we try to push something alone that others don't want?
And to tell you the truth, Carole, I think that we lost a lot of money on the past because we didn't have that
synergy together.
and work together in the project. Because when you presented the project and we see that, you know, part of our board, part don't even know about it, we're not going to touch it.
Exactly.
You know? So when you have a project that you all representatives know about, it's a lot easier to talk about, because if you miss something, somebody else is going to pick up what you missed because you're all on the same boat, you know. And I think that's why we've been having the success that we've been having in Boston, because the three of you. And,
We work together all the time.
Usually we say, when things are so good, we're afraid that we're going to lose it. So to tell you the truth, I'm afraid of next election that we're not going to lose the group that we have right now. We still want to have you three together and move on.
Well,
you know?
I think that's what we want too, Carlos, absolutely. But you know, you can't do all these things in your ability as a state rep unless you do get elected. And that is, you know, that's the hard thing. Every 2 years you have to run. You've got to put yourself out there, and hopefully, you know, the voters usually get it right and see that you might be worthy of giving another chance. And of course, that's what we hope, because we can't do these things.
So it will be next year.
Well, next year, and this.
So you should be
this year.
campaigning very soon.
Wait, we're in the election year right now, and
Yes.
we already are.
Yes.
Carlos, it never ends. I haven't stopped. Didn't you notice? I haven't stopped. And so I'm lucky. We are a team. We've said that enough and enough. It's true. Alan, Sylvia, Paul Schmidt, Mike Rodricks, all of us that represent some or piece of Fall River. I think Fall River is lucky to have the whole team.
And again, Fall River's right on the center of the other two good representatives out there, because when something hurts a town around us, we have a little bit of impact too.
Absolutely.
So
Look what's
that's
happened
good.
with the Brayton Point. It's a difficult situation. I've been very involved because some of the workers live here in Fall River. I've met with them, attended their hearings. I mean, you know, we have to be involved in so much. And you know, we talked a little bit about the good things right now, and we talked about the parks and the unity of our delegation. There are issues that we're going to be facing. You know, we want to get as much money for education and public safety, and there's so many more projects. Route 79 waterfront.
And for all of those, I'm going to have to bring you back
I'll
again.
be back.
Half an hour is gone. Thank you again. Carole Fiola was our guest tonight, and the invitation it's on the table for her to come back again for another show. Thank you and have a good night. Thank you, Carole.
Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.